Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I've got a really cool card for you today. It's another pop-up, but look. It's a record player and the arm and the record both spin around. Things like that are difficult to show on camera, but they both are spinning. This took me absolutely weeks to perfect. This mechanism up here was a nightmare, getting this arm to move on opening in the right direction. I want to be up in the air like this. I want to be down there. I'm like, no, I don't want that. So it took me a long time to work it out, but I've got there in the end. Now, I started trying to do instructions on this and I got to 20. With pictures, and I was like, oh, this is just too hard. This is just going to have to be one of artwork. So it's taken me absolutely weeks to do, but here is the artwork. So what you're going to get are two. Now I'm showing you here on 8.5 by 11. I'll just zoom out a little bit. So this is the 8.5 by 11 and this is the A4. Now I know they're different card stocks. I wanted to show you because when I design my artwork, as long as you set your printer to letter or A4, whatever you're going to be using, and print at actual size, it will come out exactly the same. And it needs to be accurate, so make sure that you choose actual size. Okay, now what you're going to get are two, so you can choose. This one's already got happy birthday wrote on it, so you've got a sheet where you can just go. Okay, so just print and go. It tells you here like a few little descriptions that help. If the writing's ran that way, it's referring to scoring at 1 just at the top. 3 and 4 will be there and there. So make sure that the cardstock's this way on your scoring board before you do the instructions. You could always have one of these printed out ready to go, but like I said, the instructions are just 2. It doesn't take long and there's only 6 pieces to cut out, but trying to explain it in writing and pictures is a nightmare. So I thought visual video is the best way to go with this one. So this one doesn't have the black border, it doesn't have the colouring on that record, and you've got your controls separate so that if you don't want to put them on there, or you want to use some brads or something like that, or make up your own designs, then you can. And then you've just got the blank templates here that you can print over or print onto pattern paper, you know, whatever you want to do. So there are lines on a couple of places where it's important. They're very faint, and there's a little black dot there which becomes important later on. The other thing I've given you are 2 record sheets. So one is blank records so that you can fill them in with your own words using stickers or stamps, etc. And then I've done one that covers a lot of occasions. We've got Happy Mother's Day with love, Happy Father's Day, Happy Birthday, best wishes, and just for you. So you know, it covers quite a lot for you. So they are available on Etsy and also on Ko-fi shop. I'll put the links in the description, but there is going to be a small charge because the mechanics and the time taken for that one was a lot. So it's only $1.99, but there is a small charge on that one, and you can see you've got massive depth. It does fold flat. I've got extra cardstock in here, so where the folds are here, I've put an extra piece of craft card where you've got your tabs over the top. So I've got double layer of thickness of card there. I've got 3 layers here because I've matte and layered the front. I've not put a sentiment on there yet because I'm not sure what I'm going to use it for. Then you've obviously got your mechanism, which is 200 GSM with Neenah, and that's folded. So, but even so, it's still pretty thin, so it's still under the 5mm for the UK. Not sure what you are everywhere else in the world. Now this one is done on, I've done for A4.5 and then cut it down to 5 high, so it's actually just under 6 by 5 high. You can see that you've got that border there. You need it to be 6 because that's coming really close to the edge, so you're not going to get away with your 5.5. I did try and design it down, but it just, you needed that room because the arm swings 90 degrees. Like if I fully extend it, it goes right the way past, so I needed to have that level of swing before it got there, so that's why it's that big. So yeah, 7 by 5 would be great. You know, you're just gonna have to extend this 1 inch, but you could then have somewhere to write a message on this side, so not a problem being 7 by 5. Easily done. So it all works really well because I've spent absolutely, like I say, ages and ages on it. And like I say, you've got 6 bits, so you've only got these bits to cut out. There's like an L shape, the arm. See, I did have all this separate, and then I put it all together and shaded it, and I thought, what's the point of having all these extra pieces? But if you want to decoupage them, print a couple out and then build it up, etc. But obviously remember, your card's going to become thicker in the middle. And then obviously the record. Now when you're cutting out, see there's a little bit of a white mark. Now you can always edge. You can take a black marker pen or anything like that and just go around the edge, go from the back, because if you write on it, you can see, look how different that looks. It's made it really professional. But if you write, you're going to get the back or any bleed. You want to be on the back. I'm not going to do it. It's just a guide to show you that you can do that if you want to. Probably end up with black on the card now. So these little pieces here are all done. So what we'll do is we'll get started and I'll show you how to put it together, because it's pretty simple. Right, I don't know where my card blank's gone, so I may have to pause in a minute and go and get one done, because I don't even know if I've got one over it, to be honest. Planning and preparation and all that. So if we go back to the instructions on here, it does say score at 1, 3 and 4, and the picture is around this way. So we're going to do the picture around that way, and we're going to do exactly what it says and score at 1, 3 and 4. So just put it up to there. 1, 3 and 4. Okay, now you'll see that I have got score marks there, but I've gone off because I cut this too short when I was cutting it just now, so that's why it's off a little bit, but yours will be bang on. So 1, 3 and 4 there, like so. And then if you fold it in half, we'll work on one at a time. If you fold it in half, you can then go up here and cut out this rectangle, because you're probably thinking, how am I going to cut that out? Just like this. When you've got that score, you're not going to see this. It's a hidden mechanism, so it doesn't have to be amazing, but big enough. So now you've got a hole in the centre there like that. Now you can see these score lines quite clearly, so you can place them down onto your scoreboard. Use one of the lines if you've got drawn lines on your scoreboard like me, and then line up where that grey line is and put a score line down through both at once, and then you can manipulate it back and forth, and then we'll have a proper go on that in a minute. So we've got all our scores and cuts done on that one. Then with this other piece here, it says on the instructions, the basic instructions, you do need to watch the video to learn all about it fully. You score at 1 all the way down. It's not much, look, I'll show you. So score at 1, just the top at 3 and 4, just the bottom at 3 3/4 and 4 3/4. So just the top means above this line. So just the top at 3, just the top at 4, just the bottom at 3 3/4, which is up through that black line. That black line is meant to droop over the side, because you didn't want to miss it, so I designed it so that it would go over. And then 4 3/4 as well. So we've got our score lines in on that, and then we need to make that cut. It says here, cut this line up to the 3-inch top score. So we're doing this bit here. So we're just going to cut that line, which is this line here, and that 3-inch score is this one. So the vertical shading one that I've got there. Just going to do that, cut it all the way up to that, like so. And we can fold this one in half and again do the same thing. We can use our scoreboard to get those lines in on there. Whoopsie, if you don't move it. Like that. So we can get that manipulated. I'll just move this out of the way because it's really in my way of working. So I can move this out of the way as well. Don't really need that. So there we go, we've got our basic score lines in. So now you need to really reinforce them, because with pop-ups they do need to be able to move properly so they're shut flat. And when you've made it, you could put it under some books or something like that, just to make sure that it all goes absolutely flat. It won't affect the mechanism or anything, it'll all work fine. And then here we've got a score line, here we've got a score line. So wherever there's a score line, fold it. And probably fold it more than I'm doing, like I'm only doing it once. You can go in a couple of times, do it both ways as well, backwards and forwards. So like this one, it wasn't really done much at all. and then that way as well. Just get them going. You'd spend a bit more time. That's actually going to go kind of like that. Fold it round. These will end up down, so we'll make sure that they're going down that way. That one will go down, and so will that. So just get them down. That's that one all scored, reinforced. And then this one, same thing. So this one's going to be off a little bit because of the way that I've cut the end. I've made it go a bit wonky. Hopefully it won't affect when I put it in the card. I can't believe that I did that. I should have printed another one and done it again, but impatient. There we go. And that final tab there. These are the tabs that glue to the bottom. And then we've got these to reinforce. So we're going to fold it that way. Come back. Push it in because it does live inside. So push it in. Fold it up. Well, I shove that in. Honestly. Ruthless. So I might zoom in a little bit actually. Just bear with me. There, that's better, isn't it? You can see a bit better now. So we've got all of our little workings going on, all the folds going in the right way where they should be going, etc. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ignore these bits for now. They'll come in a minute. We're going to get these bases into the card. Now this one goes inside of the card base. So take your card base, and this is going to go into the back there. So that one goes on the back of the card there. Okay, we'll glue it there. I'll show you in a minute. But this one, apart from this tab, I think I'm a little bit close. I'll just zoom out a little bit. I'm going to make you guys dizzy. So these two need to attach to this. So this tab out of the way, these two go here like this. They just literally join that together like that. And then you've got your whole record base together because it was two halves coming together like that. Okay, so it's obvious which way they go because you've cut that section out. So it's obvious which way they have to go on. You can see the black lines line up. Everything works fine. So what we'll do is we'll put glue onto these tabs because then it won't get in the way of anything else. Because you've got mechanisms folded up on that one, so you don't want to mess with those. So we'll put the glue on these. And I've made a lot of these where they've gone right and wrong and everything else. So because I've made a lot, this is by far the easiest way to put it together. It's just really difficult to explain in writing and pictures. Unless I had like a 6-page spread. So, pop those together. I might stand it up and then I can probably get a better idea of where they're going to go. Pop it on there like that. I've done this always. This is like the one where I just wibble it a bit. Get that fold together and get that black line together. Push it down. This one probably stuck. Look, this glue is so, look, that's taken already. It is so good. I'm going to remove that little bit there. I'm going to put a little bit more on. It's such a quick drying glue, but that was a little bit too quick because I didn't have it lined up. Like I said, this is probably the trickiest bit because you want the top to be flush. So what I mean by that are these pieces here. You want the black lines to meet up and you want those joins to be together like that. That's perfect. So I'll try and hold that together. Put it down on the table, rub it together, and then like that little bit there, probably take that off because it's just a bit that tore. So finish it, finish the job as it wanted to. So it's happened a lot easier than that. But there you go. It's always nice to see when I struggle, isn't it? So we've got those bits like that. So we've got two flaps on the back that are 1.5 inches wide. Like if you look at that, that's the record player. And then we've got an inch flap here, 1.5 there and 1.5 on the back. And they all move and whatever. It's like quite weird at the moment. How I came up with this, I've no idea. Absolutely no idea. But playing and playing and playing and trial and error. getting the arm to move across without going up in the air and what have you was the hardest thing of all. The record spinning was quite a quick job. That was quite simple. I understood the mechanism of that and I thought, yeah, that works, so good. But this arm was a nightmare. Now, what I like to do is open up the card. So if you've already decorated your front, I recommend you don't do it at the end. Open it up and then pop this side. So make sure your controls are on the bottom. Pop this. If you want, you don't have to have this in the base of the card. I just think it looks better. I've got a bit of a cold, so excuse me if I'm a bit. So where the score line is, you want to make sure the score line moves, and you want to go up to it as much as you can, but not on it, because then the card will buckle. So you just want it to be at the bottom. God, this glue, I think this glue's getting a bit old. I had to cut the top off of it earlier, so. Time to invest. I do actually put links to some of the products that I use in my description if you're interested in any of them. Sure, that goes like that, and then we just reinforce there. So that's stuck on there now. So that's on the front. Okay, so that's your card on the front. You can see where we're going with this. Then flip it all over. Definitely the easiest way to do it. Fold, you've got the 1.5 inches in the middle there. It's just the two that you've joined together. It's a tab and it's 1 inch. So put everything over. So it's 1 inch and a tab. And then that one, you've got that shape going on here. Make sure it's halfway. Fold it in half of that V. So fold it in half back like that. And you've got your tab there. Then just let them all sit down flat and pop glue on. So we're going to put glue on all of these. Now if you wanted to, you can cut these off and angle them in so they're less visible. But I left that up to you because sometimes if you're putting card over it like I did, it's fine to leave them square. So it's just a bit of cutting you don't have to do. But if you want to, you can. So I like to smear mine down. I usually use my baby finger, which is a brilliant idea. Why I use my index finger then, I have no idea. And I'll probably live to regret it in a minute. So baby finger is amazing because you don't really use it much. So it doesn't get glue on everything. It's real handy little glue smearer tool built in to me. I've got one. So then I'm holding these down flat. So I've got 3 fingers on non-gluey bits. And then I'm going to bring the back of the card over to it. So how easy is that? And that will get everything. Give it a rub down on the back. Because if you've got a thin card, you might get lumps and bumps and it might show through, and you can always cover it up in the end. This is fine, so go like that. And you can see, fold it back the other way when it's flat and opened. There's your mechanism. Well, part of it, not all of it, but part of it. So you can see there, that's what we got going on there. Okay, so this one goes in and so does that one. So they do actually go in like that, so you can put them in and reinforce them down if you want. You can see those are going, but we need to add tabs to them. So we've got 2 tabs. There's one there, and it does have the lines, there they are. It does have the scoring lines on there. Now this is not the same depth as that, so don't think you've done anything wrong. Now with it held this way round, put your score line horizontal, and it will flip up that way, and you can see it's not a complete match, which is good. So what you're going to do with this one is this triangle on the right hand side only, you apply glue. Now it's going to be tricky with this glue because I've got, like I say, I've chopped the top off, so I'm putting way too much out. I should be using an applicator, but I'm not. There we go. Pop that on there. Might wipe and be careful that you don't smear it on the wrong bit, Sarah. So with it like an opposite L, mirror reflection of an L, pop that and see that black dot? Make sure you can see it, because you don't want this to go over the mechanism. I'll hold it up and show you. So that little black dot is going to be useful for a couple of things. There's a little tiny black dot at the bottom there. So that's at the bottom, marking the bottom of your V. Now this then comes up like that. Before I do the next bit, I think I'll do this bit, because if I put the record on, you're not going to have so much viewing space over here. So we'll do this V here. Now this one, it's important that you put this on around the right way as well. So as it is on the card, let me show you. It does say there are lines. So there's a line going up. There's nothing in this square, and there's a V there. Make sure that you've got that V going that way. Vertical folds are valley. Valley means it's going in like that. And diagonal folds are mountains. So mountains go that way. So they're both going backwards, and they're both going inwards. Okay, like that. So we've got that going on. It's going to do that. That's how it's going to close. Do it again, like that. But we'll put it in first. So again, it's the top, it's the right hand triangle. Only the right hand side and only the triangle. Don't get it on anything else. So, big blob of glue. And smear that down as well. If you smear it down, it really does help it a lot. I think that's what makes it stick quicker, and also because this is glue's been exposed a little bit, which is why I had to chop the top off. It's dried out a little bit more, so it's yeah, can't get the words out again. So that's halfway. So this square, so not the V, just the square, then sits right over the top. But you see this mechanism here? Don't go over that. So if it's bigger, then you can just leave it bigger. So like that. So that's on there now, and it's only on the diamond, on the triangle. Diamond, where did that come from? And you can see they both, I don't know if you can see that, they're like that, and then when it closes, they both go vertical, yeah? So they're both going vertical. If they're not going vertical, you can always pull them out a little bit and make them go vertical. It's just where I've cut it wonky again. Very wonky cutter today. There we go, tired. Been unwell as well, so I blame it on that. Now this one, you fold it over. You can see how wonky it is. Let's straighten it out. Fold it over, reinforce, and then fold that triangle down. Okay, you with me? So over this little bit here, down, and then back up. So you've got that square all together. Over, down, back up. And then put glue on the bottom right. This is the bit that I had nightmares with. So I know it's a little bit, there's a lot going on, but there had to be a lot going on, or the arm would not work. It would be up in the air. So I had to ground it a bit. Put glue on that and close that up. So you can see that it's like a spring, but the spring is angling this way and down a little bit, which is what I needed to try and make it do. So by gluing that final bit there, that really did help it. Now this will go back in. You can see now this is how the mechanism works underneath everything, and you can squash that, it's fine. You can squash it down and it's fine, it still works. It's really good. I'm so pleased with it. It took a long time, but it was worth it. So now the record. Now what I want you to do with the record, when you cut it out, decorated it, do everything. Any decorating you're doing, if you're using the plain ones, do it first. Now this is like a spongy mat, and I've got a pokey tool, and I'm just going to stab it in the white bit. Now I suppose you could get away with doing this stage if you could work out where the centre is, but I've designed it so that you can do it, so you might as well. The other thing I've done is I've lost my gems. I had some gems that go in the middle. I've lost them. Oh, I see them. I haven't lost them, they're back. Now if you want to, can you see that's raised? That bit of paper at the back is coming off a little bit. You can go in and snip that because you're going to cover it up with a gem. This is just to make sure that you're putting the record in the centre of the record player, really, and that the spin is not like skew with. Now when the card is open, that's where the record's gonna, when they've opened the card, that's where the record's gonna say. So if you want happy birthday to be direct, do it like that. If you put it in like that, it's going to open up and be upside down. So when the card is open and flat, that's how you want the message to be. So if you want the message to be dead square, then do that. This flap has to go up. You expose that little black mark there again, and you put glue across the whole of that flipped up rectangle. So across all of here, this is holding the record on. Now I forgot to show you, see if I can do it, that if it catches, see it's catching ever so slightly, it probably won't when the record's on there, but just to stop it, just take that corner off. It won't affect it at all. I nearly drew it with it taken off, but I thought, oh, it's another thing that may not need to be done. So just open and close, and if it is catching, just chop that right hand corner off once it's flipped up. That's the key. I'm just going to get this glue because I don't want it to go on the other bit because the record will stick to the base. Ah, like that. So yeah, don't do that. I've got glue all over my hand. I'm just going to rub it off a minute because otherwise it's going to be everywhere. Make sure that's dry and not going to interfere. So now with the little hole, you can see that little black spot. You probably won't when I do this, but then I can see where that's got to go really easily. And I haven't got that square, but it doesn't matter. Hold it down. Let that glue take just to the record. Make sure then that your record is not stuck to the record player with any glue. Don't bend it that much. Don't really want a bent record. Put that down. You can see the record is now spinning. And because I put it in at a wonk, it wasn't at 12 o'clock, it's going to stay at a wonk, which is fine. I've got a problem with it. So now with this one, you have to put this on when the card's closed. So I'm going to try and angle the camera so you can see what I'm doing. So you close the card, and then this mechanism, make sure that's pushed down, and it's doing all those things, so it's come over and all of that, all the things it needs to do. Push it down. I'm going to pull the card front up. You wouldn't do this like that. So we need to put glue onto this top triangle that's been folded over only. Smear it with your baby tool. Close the card, but not all the way because you'll glue it together. And then get this in the air, so you don't want it to touch glue yet. You want the arm, the base of the arm, I don't know what that bit's called where the needle would be, to be there at the edge. Okay, so you want it to be angled like that. This is really difficult to show you. So when it's flat, I'll show you what it's like up. So you want it to be like that and not touching the record. So you don't want it to be overlapping the record. You want it to be away from the record, but as close to this edge as possible. So sort of like that is going to be a good fit. So just then open it up. I know you probably couldn't see that, but I literally just put it where I showed you, like that, and then rub that down and let it take. Give it a good old rub down, and then it's just up to you to decorate. So there we go, you've got it. So this one, because it's not been sat under books or anything, it's a little bit high. It will go flatter because I didn't reinforce it loads either, but it'd be fine. And you can also like get it to manipulate it to do what you want it to do. And then the record as well, put it under some books. This is exactly how I made mine, no difference at all. You can see you've got yourself a working record player. This is the one that I've flattened. You can see it's just sitting naturally flat now. That one isn't. That you can see that's all still popped up quite a lot when it's natural. So you need to rest it under something because there's a lot of folds in there. Once it's been under some books, then it just works lovely. And it doesn't matter about pushing that down there. That won't stop it from working. It'll be fine. It'll work. Okay, so have fun. Head over to my Ko-fi shop in Etsy and get yourself the templates and the records to have some fun. Don't forget to mention me, and have a great day everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.